Hi guys, it's Sarah Todd. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I cannot believe that I've reached 2,000 subscribers. Literally on the last video I uploaded, I was thanking you guys for 1,000 subscribers. So just want to say thank you so much again for all of your support. It's so crazy that I have 2,000 subscribers, so thank you so much. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience meeting One Direction through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. In 2014, I had my wish to meet One Direction granted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it was literally the best experience of my life. It is to this day my favorite memory I've ever had in all of my 18 years of living, and it was so extraordinary. I wanted to meet One Direction because they helped me get through all of my tough medical experiences because their music made me so happy. And I wasn't really in a good mental state between around 2012 to 2014. I got my disability in 2010 at 8 years old, and I was really struggling with losing my independence and not being like other kids because I needed help with so many things. And One Direction just really helped me get into a happy state of mind and forget about my disability and just feel like a kid again. I didn't really want anything else for my wish. I knew I wanted to meet One Direction. So when the Make-A-Wish representatives came to my house, I told them that I wanted to meet One Direction and that I really didn't want anything else. That was my one true wish that I wanted. And a few months later, they were able to make it happen. On August 15th, 2014, my mom told me that I was going to have lunch with my grandma at Chick-fil-A, which is my absolute favorite restaurant. And she drove me to the Chick-fil-A, and we were listening to One Direction on the way there and talking about what cities they were going to be touring to next. And I even mentioned that they were going to be in Detroit next. And then we got out of the car and walked in, and someone who worked at the Chick-fil-A met us at the door, and she told me she loved my shirt, which just happened to be a One Direction t-shirt. And then she led me to this back room, and I was getting really confused. And then I saw 5 shadows in the room, and I was like, oh my god, like I had like a mini heart attack. I was like, what if that's One Direction? But then like the rational part of me knew it wasn't. But I started kind of realizing that like my wish was being granted, like this is really happening. And she opened the door, and my Make-A-Wish representatives all yelled out, "Surprise!" And they told me that my wish was being granted. And I literally was speechless. I cried a little bit and I kept saying, "Oh my gosh," and I could not believe it. And they told me that I had to pack my bags that night because the next morning I was going to leave with my mom, my best friend, and her mom, and fly to Detroit, which I just mentioned in the car, that was the next city they were going to play, to meet One Direction and see their concert. So it was so amazing. The cow mascot was even there at the party. We had so many chicken nuggets and ice cream and candy. They gave me some gifts, and they were just so incredible. And I was so speechless. Like I kept thinking about it. I was like, oh my god, I'm literally meeting One Direction. Like I could not believe it. And then I went home after our party, and my best friend came over, and I surprised her because she still didn't know. And that was so fun. And then we packed, and the next day we flew from Atlanta to Detroit to meet One Direction. And we all wore our Make-A-Wish shirts in the airport, and so a lot of people asked where we were going, and that was really fun to get to tell them. So it was really, really cool. Then once we got to Detroit, we stayed at this super nice hotel that they put us in, and we hung out at the pool and just kind of looked around the city a bit. And I actually really liked Detroit. I feel like it gets a bad reputation for no reason. It's a great city, and we just kind of had fun, and we went out to dinner, and my friend and I were like, oh my god, like it just hit me. I can't believe it. Like we're literally meeting One Direction tomorrow. We kept thinking about it, and it was just like so insane to think about. Then the next day, that was the day we were going to the concert and meeting 1D. We got our cute outfits out. I wore a green and black striped dress from Justice because I was 12, so I still loved Justice. And it was actually a pretty cute dress, I have to admit. And my friend wore a pretty pink purpley dress, and a limo picked us up at the hotel and took us to the concert. And it was so funny because like we were in the limo, we could see people looking at us outside, and they like totally thought we were One Direction, which was hilarious. Then once we got to the concert, we picked up our tickets at will call, And we went to our seats, which were so close to the stage. We were on the floor in this massive stadium, and we had really good seats. And we watched the opening band, which was 5 Seconds of Summer. I loved them. We bought some shirts, and we just kind of hung out and waited to go backstage. And then once it was time to go backstage, Sally, a super sweet representative for 1D, came out and got us, and she brought us back. And I remember everyone staring at us when we were going back. It was like, I felt so powerful. Like I knew that they knew we were meeting 1D. It was just really fun. So we went back. We had to wait a really long time to meet them. We waited in the hallway. And while we were waiting, I actually saw Louis walking down the hallway, and my friend and I were like, oh my God, that's Louis. So that was cool. And then once we were allowed in the room, we waited a long time again. And then they finally walked in, and they all kind of walked in separately, but Harry walked in last, and I was right by the door, and he walked in and he looked at me and he waved and he kind of knelt down and said hi, and I was like, oh my God, I was like inwardly fangirling. And then we all got a chance to meet them. I had written and published my first book about my experience living with my disability, and I really wanted to give that to them. So I gave 1D my first published book, and they were so impressed. Niall was like, oh my God, you wrote that? Like he couldn't believe it. And Harry was like, that's so amazing. And I was telling them when it was, and I got to hug them all, and they like fangirled over my book a little bit. And Harry like loved it. He was looking through it in all of our photos together. And in our group photo, I stood next to Harry and Zane. And in the photo, Harry's looking at the book and making a really enthusiastic face at it. And he really loved it, so that was so exciting. And then after we took our photo, I hugged Harry again, and I told him I loved him because I just couldn't pass up that opportunity, you know? And he said, I love you more, and I like died inside. So that was like amazing. And then my friend met them, and that was really fun to watch her. And then we got to have some things signed, so they signed my shirt for me, and it was so amazing. Then they said goodbye and told us to enjoy the show. They were so polite. And then we went to our seats and watched the concert. And at one point during the concert, Harry started waving in my direction. And at first I didn't notice because this is so bad, but I was looking at Niall because Niall was the one singing. And I like didn't really know if Harry was waving at me or not. But then the Wish representative showed me Harry, and then I waved back, and then he stopped waving. And now, literally at every concert I go to, Harry points me out in the crowd. It's so incredible. I don't know how he does it. I saw them 2 weeks later after I met them for my Wish, and Harry smiled at me and did peace signs. And then I saw them a few months later, and Harry did the same thing at me. He did all these thumbs up and peace signs, and it was so cool. But the coolest thing ever was about a year after I met them for my Make-A-Wish, I saw them in Baltimore, and Harry pointed me out in the crowd a million times, blew kisses constantly. He mouthed, I love you, did peace signs and thumbs up. And then he was on the catwalk where I was, and he walked all the way to the main stage, picked up a towel, walked back, kissed it, and then held on to it in his back pocket for like a minute to sing his solo. And then when he was done with his solo, he kneeled down right in front of me, and he pointed to me and lightly tossed me the towel because I was like right by the barricade. So he like lightly tossed it to me. And I know it's just a dumb like sweat towel, you know, so it sounds so stupid to be so excited. But the whole point was that he remembered me and pointed me out in the crowd, and I like could not believe it. Like this was almost a year after I met him. He truly has some skills for remembering fans. I don't know how he does it. I think he remembers me so well because I gave him my book, which was probably an unusual thing for fans to do. Like I feel like most fans wouldn't do that. And I also got to write One Direction a thank you letter about a month after they granted my wish. And Make-A-Wish put all of these letters from Wish Kids into a book for them with our pictures to read. And they told me that they put my letter on the first page. So I feel like they probably read my letter and maybe a little bit of my book, and that's how he remembers me. And it's so amazing. He even does this at his solo concerts that I've gone to. Every time I see him, he always waves and blows kisses and does peace signs. He's literally so sweet. The fact that he remembers me is insane. It makes me so happy. And ever since I had my wish granted, I have not been depressed like I was for those 2 years, I love my life, and One Direction and meeting them and just experiencing their kindness, especially Harry's kindness, really helped me to recognize my worth as a person and as someone with a disability. And just that love that they have for me as a Wish kid made me feel so special, and truly meeting them as a Wish kid is one of the best experiences ever, and I'm so thankful that I was able to have it happen. Harry is truly one of the kindest humans I've ever met, and being a Wish kid is just so special to me. Another cool thing is I have also met Niall again on his solo tour, and I showed him the picture I have with him from my Wish, and he got so excited. He was like, "Oh my god, I totally remember this. This is so cool." And he congratulated me on writing more books because I gave him my second book that I'd written since writing my first one that I gave them. And yeah, so he remembers me too, and that like blows my mind. Now, almost 6 years after meeting them, I cannot believe that. I always tell people about my Wish. I think about it literally every day because it made me so happy. I always love going to their concerts and having him pick me out in the crowd. It's so fun and makes me feel so special. And I really just use my Wish story to help people recognize how kind and sweet Harry and the rest of the 1D guys are, because they truly are so sweet. They care about their fans. And when Harry says treat people with kindness, this is exactly what he means. He cares about his fans. He cares about Wish kids especially. He's just so kind. So yeah, I basically talk everyone's ear off about the time I met One Direction for my Make-A-Wish if they let me. Make-A-Wish has had me come speak about my experience meeting them before at fundraisers, and I've done the Walk for Wishes before, because I love Make-A-Wish because they helped make this happen. And then Harry decided to carry my Wish on for longer than he had to. All he really had to do was meet me, and that's it. But he decided to be extra nice and continue doing things for me even years after my Wish. This was one of the most special experiences I've ever had, and I will continue to talk about it for the rest of my life because it meant that much to me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my experience meeting One Direction for my Make-A-Wish. Please subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. The links are in the description box below. Have a good day, guys. Bye.